that one. It's become clear to me that many of you want to know how I clean all this stuff after a week in the desert. And that's what this video is gonna be, a cleaning tutorial. Nothing exciting, but being out in the desert for a week, getting dust, grime, dirt, mud, all in the cameras and the gear and all the mounts, it's been pretty apparent that people want to know how I clean this stuff. And honestly, I don't clean it a ton after each shoot. I clean the necessary items that need to be cleaned, and then the bodies, they're gonna get dirty again the following week, so what's the point? But I will clean the necessary items. I'm gonna do a full clean of my gear and show you guys what tools I use and how I get all this dirt, grime, and making it look not brand new, but functional and not gonna affect my work for the next project. So let's get to it. So usually when I'm on the road, I get my cameras pretty darn dirty. I mean, you can see it's pretty mucked up as far as getting dirt in all the crevices and the crannies, and yeah, you hear that? Oh man, look at that dust. I don't know if the camera can pick up, there's just plumes of dust just coming up off the camera within my zoom mechanism. So not the greatest, honestly. And you can see the GoPro definitely needs some love, and you can probably hear. Yeah, it gets pretty darn dirty and mucked up in the process of all this filming. So we're gonna start with blowing off all the dirt. I usually clean the cameras on the go with this battery-powered air blower, but on my most recent shoot, it died. And so I decided let's upgrade to a bit of a bigger air compressor so that way we can really clear everything out. And that's when this thing comes into play. So I've got my air compressor little tool here that I'm gonna plug in, and this is gonna get us most of the dirt and dust off the primary functioning items. So we're gonna take this part first before we go any further. All right, now you can see we got more dust and dirt there. And yeah, this thing has seen better days. This is the Sony A7S III, which is my go-to for rough run and gun stuff. There is just grinding of these screws as they're coming out because they've been coated in dirt for however long. We're gonna air compress everything first and get all the dirt off, and then we're gonna go into the finer cleaning things. All that dirt has really made this little flip out screen harder to detach, so. Now before we go any further in the cleaning process, we're going to organize this chaos a little bit so that way we're not mixing screws up, mixing other equipment, and cross-contaminating, since we're getting to more of the nitty-gritty stuff. Now, I removed the tripod mainly because that thing is going to take up a lot more of this working space, and we'll have to do a separate cleaning for that large of an item. So let's grab our cleaning supplies and get started. I'm using just an everyday multi-surface cleaner, so all-use cleaner should be fine with this. You're not doing any of the sensors, we'll do that with something different, but more of just to wipe these things clean and get them as clean as we can get them for functioning order. For all the nooks and crannies, we're going to be using Q-tips because they can get way deeper than this rag is. Right now we're just kind of getting all the major grit and grime off of it. Oh, I didn't even notice. See all that dirt in there? We're gonna have to do some major cleaning on that part. This Sigma lens is probably my favorite go-to lens. It's the 24-70 2.8 Art. It is honestly, I mean, most people know this. This is the best focal length that I have in my library because it's honestly the best wide and the best quick telephoto for quick shots. And yeah, I live and breathe by this lens. Hoping to upgrade my lens to the next one because they have a Mark II that just came out, so I'd like to check that one out. Yeah, already looking much better. Look at that, that's really dirty. GoPros, they're meant to get dirty, they're meant to get banged up, so I'm not overly concerned about the cleanliness of this thing, just as long as the lens isn't damaged and it's cleaned, all the touch functions still work.
Now we bring in some Q-tips for more detailed cleaning. I will typically use one end with solution on it and use the other end for drying, especially in the more sensitive areas. Usually when disassembling a piece of equipment like this, I'll be very careful and keep my surfaces pretty decluttered as to not mix up or lose vital pieces and put it right back together after I'm finished cleaning, so that I actually remember how to put it back together. For the tension arms, I'll clean the ball heads by cleaning aside and then rotating the ball heads back and forth to make sure I reach all the necessary spots so that it doesn't bind up.
This is a pretty deep clean of all my equipment, but like I said, I don't typically clean this intensely on all my stuff before I ever shoot because, like I said, it gets pretty gummed up or it gets pretty dirty the following week when I'm out there again. But this is a process to make sure all your things don't just get gummed up indefinitely. Now this is tedious for sure, but it beats having to ruin your gear and then spend several $1,000s fixing it, or spend several hundreds of dollars sending it in, sometimes thousands, to get it cleaned. So just take an afternoon, put on a show, and get to clean it.
And now for the gimbal. As you can probably expect, this thing has gotten a lot of dirt and dust in the inner workings, so I was extremely careful piecing this thing apart. The last thing I want to do is to strain a wire that I couldn't see while disassembling it. So I didn't push myself too far into the innards, just what I felt comfortable enough being able to put back together.
We're gonna focus a little bit more on the cameras with the little degrees. So we're gonna get a new workspace here. There's a better way to do this. Much better. So now we're gonna go into more of the nitty-gritties on the camera and the lenses and a little bit more of the electronic stuff. So now that we've gotten all the bigger gear out of the way, now it comes into more of the finer things. Now it's still quite a bit dirty, but eons better than being covered completely in dust.
Now for the camera details, I'm using a camera cleaner solution instead of your general all-purpose cleaner, which you can find at most of your camera shops or on Amazon. By the way, all the tools and cleaners that I use in this video are linked in the description.
So, much cleaner. Definitely not clean, as you can still hear a little bit of dust and grime in there, especially in the focus, but she still gets the job done, and that's all that really matters to me. As long as she functions great, I'm good. She doesn't have to be perfect. Now the moment of truth. Does everything turn on? Does everything work seamlessly? That is the goal. So let's go ahead and power on the gimbal. Great, no problems there. Power on the camera. Okay, everything's good on that front. Monitor, transmitter. All right, we've got power to everything. And everything appears to be moving without any crunching. That is the goal, no crunch. So yeah, that's how I clean my gear. If you guys found this super helpful, like and subscribe and share this with your other filmmaker buddies that also do everything they can to get the ultimate shots and put their lives on the line and put their cameras right in the middle of the chaos and get it super dirty and grimy or wet or whatever. Yeah, I know there are a lot of other filmmakers out there like me that also do crazy things that I do, which is super cool, but also just it's a good reminder to give your equipment some good TLC. Make sure that she's running right so that way when you're on set, you don't encounter some crazy glitches, bad connections, or anything of the sort. So if you guys found this helpful, like I said, like and subscribe, share this with your buddies, and until next time, cheers.